That's me, Robert Kelch. We're going to talk about passion and sin. How's that? We have a real passion for running electric TRUs from the sun. That's what our goal was in 2009 when we started. What I'm going to show you is a lot of data to show what we've been doing the last few years. And yes, it's possible to run these off the sun. We've been running lithium battery packs in the field, delivering food for 10 years solid every single day. So we have a lot of experience with TRUs and lithium battery packs, which is really what this whole thing is all about. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about batteries and operations here in the next couple minutes. We've got over 8 million miles on the road, over 1 million hours of proven reliability and safety, 1.5 million safe plugs. With our low voltage 46 volt system, you don't ever have to worry about electrocuting anybody. It's not going to happen 46 volts DC. So think about forklifts. Most of you have electric forklifts in your operation. How much trouble do you have with those? And that was our goal because our TRUs get plugged in, especially on a multi-temp trailer, 6 to 10 times a day. So safety is a big issue, and plugging is a big issue. And missing a plug is a big issue. We're going to talk about that. But really, we've cracked the code on the time and the anxiety of range on electric TRUs. So we are a battery-operated TRU, period. You look at our patent set, that's what it says, is a battery-operated TRU. And so at a 46 volt DC safe human interface, we put 46 volt solar panels up on the roof. That means you don't have to worry if something goes wrong, somebody slams into an underground parking structure, it's 46 volts, no harm, no foul. It's got the wheel generator, up in the proprietary wheel generator up front of the dualies. We'll get into that a little bit later and show you why. And then 452 Freon, very conventional type, high efficiency TRU up front. Of course, you see the battery pack mid-trailer. Now, why solar? You take this application, you say, hey, wait a minute, I've got all this room up on this roof to put solar. You can't do that on a truck or a car. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when do you need cooling? Well, when you have heat. That's the sun that causes the heat. So we call it a perfect trifecta. Here's what we've done the last 2 years under the core program where we got vouchers, our telematics reports, and records everything every minute of operation, 24 hours a day, a lot of data. And if you look here, we've saved, well, this represents about 140,000 hours of runtime here, over 12,000 trips, saved over 100,000 gallons per year. Up to this point, about $1.5 million in fuel's been saved on that core program. Hey, we've reduced 2,400 tons already. And when you look at the numbers, those tons are pretty cheap, not quite free yet, but they're getting close. It didn't cost the companies that are doing this a lot of money to reduce that carbon as compared to some of the other things you might be looking at the show to eliminate your carbon footprint. A lot of trees that were saved and a lot of NOx and PM. And really, PM is what everybody in this room has to be worried about for us and kids and grandkids. It's real. So let's talk about battery life. Everybody says, what's your battery life? Well, it's like a fishbone chart. You got to say, well, what are all your assumptions? You may have 20 assumptions in that question. So let's look at those assumptions for a second. This is the typical market. Our baseline is 32 hours with no door openings. And that baseline is a multi-temp with 8 pallets of frozen and 0 and 8 pallets of refrigerator. So that's the most really that we do out there in the field is multi-temp loads. So if you come down here and look at our top line, okay, you're averaging about 12 stops. She goes out on the road 8 to 12 hours a day, and your dwell time is usually about 6 hours. So that's a pretty typical standard emission up there. We do an awful lot of minus 20, full trailer, frozen, consumes a lot more energy to do that. So we look at about 11 hours based on 46,000 hours of runtime. And we're pretty much running off solar 100% on 35-degree loads right now. So we really don't need grid at this point. So let's talk about sin. This is operations. This is real world. So in these 8-week period in February to Easter, you can see what really happens in battery electric operations. And what's going on here, you look at your top row, you've got outbound voltage. And you come across the top, you start at 85, you get all the way up to 94%. Uh-oh, something goes wrong. Oh, maybe you're coming to Easter, some of your hustlers out in the distribution center aren't trained. They don't know they have to plug these things in. So you miss the plug. So you have to have your system real world designed to accomplish that if you're going to replace diesel. So that's what we're talking about here. But look at the next row. Inbound, we're coming back with nearly half the battery. Wow, how are you doing that? Looks like magic. That represents over, I think, 800 routes. Look at all the cooling issues. 0. This is how we do it. And this is the uniqueness of our system. So you're going to sit, you're going to dwell at your distribution center, you're going to pull power for about 6 hours. And if you look at the bottom of the chart, that's about 34 kilowatt hours. Now you come out and you go out on your mission where you got to run that 12-hour route. Again, all these are based on that 12-hour route with 12 openings, so a lot of door openings. You're going to go through about 84 kilowatt hours for the day on a typical route. Well, 36 of that is consumed on the battery, but you get picking up 48 between the wheel generator and the solar panels. That's how we do it, and that's the difference. The other big thing, look up in the top left corner there, 118 kilowatt hours total for the day. That's a high efficiency system. You probably watched the movie Tom Hanks coming back from the moon with have to squeeze every watt out. We've been at this for 13 years and $16 million to squeeze every watt out of this to get high efficiency. Here's the wheel generator. This is part of how we get such a good battery life out on the road. That wheel generator outside the state of California can turn into a near zero or a pulse system. In California, you can only operate when it's braking. So this is an example before COVID. We went to Orlando to the IFTA show, ran a 28-foot trailer all the way there without plugging it in. Who needs infrastructure? So between the wheel generator and the solar panels, we never got below 25%. So we used 25% of the battery banks, and we went through 5 tornadoes, by the way, and didn't lose one solar panel. Because we're low voltage DC, we come out into your parking lot, bring power up into the parking lot from the distribution facility. We don't chew up any parking spaces with pedestals. So we have in-ground pads that the system lands on. 46 volt DC conductor. We've had this out for 2 years now, and we have had just huge success with it. So it automates it. No humans. No need for it to plug in. It's all automated. You just come in, land the trailer, and go. That's what it looks like in the ground there. As you can see, the low voltage cable just dropped a couple inches down into the concrete. And we do complete infrastructure design. We work closely with you to make sure that you've got the most efficient setup and design for your infrastructure. Oh, and by the way, we do this, microgrids. That's to take all your TRUs completely off the grid. No more diesel, no more grid. So this is what we work with you on, with our partner PLM and microgrid, or grid market, and we've got some projects getting ready to start on that. And thank you very much for your time.